Thanks for joining us once again. This is Greg for Teslafaninsight. Today's focus is new appearances of the Tesla Semi from several different entities, all surrounding an area called Stockton, California. So there have been sightings when it comes to the Stockton area from a semi from Walmart driving with the Tesla Semi, a semi with Costco driving with the Semi. We also have, I noticed that Schneider has purchased and has several Tesla Semis in their fleet that are brand new, but they're not exactly sending a message on how many that is. This is Greg for Teslafaninsight. Thanks once again for joining us. If this is your first time, welcome. If you're a repeat visitor, welcome back. We also want to thank our Patreon supporters. If you enjoy the show, would like better ideas on investing and trading, please join us on Patreon. So, where I am cautiously optimistic and surprised currently. The reason is that we currently have a lot of new developments happening with the Semi. The main development we have going on right now is that there's a whole bunch of packs now available to be put into the Semi that were not available previously because of the number of cars that were being produced. So it's our understanding that the current production facility for the Semi is capable of about 100 vehicles a month. I'm cautiously optimistic that the real number is somewhere in the 300 to 500 units a month as a possibility. The one drawback of this situation currently is that the Fremont plant, which is the closest to this Stockton facility, does have paint and the other sort of metal bending facilities necessary to create on a small scale the Tesla Semis needed to be sent over, produced, and then delivered to customers locally. So there are a few things that we'd like to review in this case. The first item to review is the fact that we actually have a situation where all of the vehicles that are being produced are coming, are kind of arriving generally in Stockton, California. Why is Stockton, California such a big deal? Well, it turns out that there's a freeway called I-5 that runs basically from San Diego, I would say, through Seattle. And that is the main sort of movement freeway for freight throughout the state of California, and it sort of integrates nicely into the rest of the United States. Now, most of the largest companies, be it Walmart in this case, Costco, I've seen distribution warehouses for Safeway and others there. So most of them basically have within a 30-mile radius of where Stockton, California is, I would say 90% of the large distributors of food and other stuff, if you will, are all located right there. So it's a great location. Now, what we've been seeing is we're seeing photos that show one vehicle in test, if you will, for Tesla Semi with a variety of sort of trucks with different brands on the rear. As I said, the primary ones that I want to focus on are Schneider, Costco, as well as Walmart. But there's a couple of other companies that have been listed. We're not getting into them. And the main reason is that at this point, Walmart at 130-ish units is the largest company to order Tesla Semi. So we're kind of laser focused on the largest entities now starting to get their vehicles. So my first response to all of this is hip, hip, hooray. I'm really excited to see this happening. It's nice to see these units start going out. It's been clear for a long time, at least a year, that the Tesla Semi is ready to go. And the location that they've chosen, I think, is excellent because based on where Stockton is, everyone on planet Earth who are experts on the Tesla Semi are within an hour-and-a-half drive of Stockton, California. So any issues that might pop up can be addressed rapidly and efficiently based on it being there. The second reason why I think Stockton is interesting is, I'm going to call it California crazy. The state of California is offering huge, I want to say, extra fees when it comes to the semi. For example, Schneider evidently has about 40 of the Freightliner e-Cascadias, and based on research we've done heading back several years, Tesla's offering their vehicles around $250,000 a copy to the state of California, while Freightliner through e-Cascadia is offering their 300-mile range vehicle for about $450,000 each. So I guess today we want to sort of laser focus on two entities out of the large list of entities that are out there that have expressed interest and are now starting to get their vehicles. So sidebar note here, there are a few of them that would show up. The discussion right now is the fact that there's one vehicle that's been recorded in action from different makes or different large corporations that have those vehicles. Now, it's our understanding that in general, the amount of electricity required to power a pack is large enough that if you're not using one of the mega packs that are dedicated to the semi, you're facing perhaps a day's worth of charging at any of the typical facilities. And you might be able to reduce that time by simply going and reserving an entire supercharger facility that's used for cars for about half a day, and you can get the job done. Why do I bring this up? Well, it turns out that the issue that pops up here is that all of the vehicles that have been received in test by those companies are not being seen at the same time. In the case of Pepsi, everything has been public and in the open, but it seems like these other manufacturers are not making a big deal of the fact that, you know, they now have the semi. Why am I bringing this up? Basically, each of these entities have enough on order, vehicles on order, to justify having installed charging facilities that can service a large number of Tesla semis coming in and operating. And I would say it's completely inefficient to simply get one vehicle and figure out how you're going to charge that one vehicle in this process. So the answer is then that I believe that each of these entities has more than one, more like 5 to 7 vehicles at least, to justify the additional cost that's been spent. And their order plan includes a lot more. Now, I brought up the whole discussion of California crazy because there are a number of goals, including non-emission only vehicles by 2035 that the state of California has. For the early adopter crew willing to do as requested by the state of California, there's now a process going on where they're pretty much paying for those vehicles for those entities willing to step out there and do the work necessary to integrate electric vehicles, especially trucks, into their fleets and reduce the amount of pollution that they're causing throughout the state of California, and especially focused on entities that are sending that pollution out every day. So I want to congratulate on that. Now, there are 2 recipients of Tesla semis that I want to concentrate on today, and you'll see why. The first is Schneider. Schneider is a distribution company, and they have large amounts of trucks that are spread throughout the United States. They're based in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Shout out to the Green Bay Packers. What I wanted to focus on with them is the fact that they actually already have 40 of the e-Cascadias in-house. And the question was, well, why would they bring semis in as well? And it looks like the answer to that is that they will be cycling those vehicles in based on the nature of the job. The biggest use currently by Schneider of those vehicles from the Cascadia fleet is bringing loads off of the water in Long Beach as well as in Los Angeles port, and bringing those materials into Inland Empire warehouses. And as we see the Tesla Semi integrated into this, I expect we'll see longer routes that Schneider will put those vehicles on to allow them to hit warehouses further away than simply 5 or 10 miles inland from the port. The next entity I wanted to really concentrate on is I'm really excited about Walmart actually getting what I think is 5 to 7 semis to start, and I'm anticipating them getting several more vehicles in the near term. And the reason is that Tesla has had a relationship with Walmart for the last probably 10 years, and they've been doing installations of Tesla solar on top of the roof of those of those stores. So the issue that I'm concentrating on right now is that I'm expecting to actually see the Tesla Semi now start showing up at the distribution center or next door to it for Walmart in these important locations like Stockton, and then being able to charge up, deliver to stores, and come back for reloads, etc. And so Walmart's model of execution, I think, is critical because, as you know, 11% of all electricity in the United States is used by grocery stores. So where we're headed with this is that Walmart is one of the most efficient entities in terms of integrating new technology to optimize their operations, particularly on costs. So if they can generate their electricity at very low costs in the off hours, stored in batteries, and feed it to their semis, clearly the number is not zero, but we now start playing around with the possibility of them generating more profit because the semi is now taking solar panels off the roof to deliver power, or possibly wind turbines, or even putting up new facilities to service the power needs of these trucks. And so I just think the possibility of reduction of greenhouse gases, et cetera, is pretty awesome with these trucks arriving and being put in place at Walmart. And then the next stage of this is what happens when competitors now start integrating Walmart's process into what they're doing. And I believe the answer is that we now end up with a great situation where each of the large grocery and other distribution firms will now aggressively compete with each other to replicate the process that Walmart is doing. So, yes, Pepsi's doing their thing. I think Walmart is really cool because when you go out to your Walmart store, you could have panels on the roof, and for the half hour you were there, you could recharge the truck potentially all the way or a decent portion of the way if that power is needed. So stay tuned for exciting times. And then the final thing I wanted to cover today is just this whole idea that Elon basically promised us 50,000 electric vehicles this year at the semi level. That's not going to happen. But what I'm excited about is the fact that we now have semis that are being delivered to customers. So all those prepaid, full paid vehicles will now move over to the revenue side of the sheet rather than sitting in the cash that the company can't recognize. And I guess what I'm hunting for is, what if it was possible that Tesla starts delivering a few thousand semis a quarter, and then that starts hitting earnings and profitability, et cetera. And if this actually happens, this might be a cause for celebration as Tesla starts slowly boosting its numbers, revenue and profit, and therefore boosting the stock, because there was no expectation of this new revenue hitting. So I think it could be a very positive thing for customers as well as the company for this to occur. At any rate, we're looking very much forward to your comments. This is Greg for Teslafaninsight. Tschüss, au revoir, alhitrod, hadaha fezdrazi, ni hao ma, kambawa. In Jamaica, we say, no respect, walk good man. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day. Hotep, namaste, and salam alaikum. Thanks. Bye.